All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Music, and I am 23 years old. I live outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the conversation that I want to have today is around Napoleon Hill's master course on success. And specifically, we're going to talk about the benefits of actually having your definite major purpose in place. So, this is from Napoleon Hill himself, and I want to just read a couple of paragraphs here and share my thoughts on them about what he, really realized that, once you have this in place, what does it do for you? When you know exactly what it is that you want, right, for from 1 year from now, as well as, your purpose for actually living, then what's going to come out of that, right? Why not just drift through life and enjoy the moment, like they say, right? Why would I need a definite major purpose in place, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. These are the benefits that come into place. So I'm going to just start reading, and if you got this book, you can definitely follow along. But he says, now let's look at some of the benefits of definiteness of purpose. I've never in my whole life suggested that anybody do anything without giving them a good reason for doing it. When I speak about planting motives in people's minds, that's not just something for you to follow, it's something that I follow too. And I can give you some very good motives for following this lesson to the letter. Okay. So, first of all, definiteness of purpose automatically develops self reliance, personal initiative, imagination, enthusiasm, self discipline, and concentration of effort. All of these being prerequisites for any success of vital importance. Okay, so what did he say that definite major purpose automatically produces? Right, self reliance, personal initiative, imagination, enthusiasm, self discipline, and concentration of effort. Right, just from having, you know, just from knowing what it is that you want, right? These are side factors. Why does he say that? The starting point to all achievement is having a definite major purpose in place. Okay, so he goes on to say that that's quite an array of things. That's quite an array of things that you develop if you develop definiteness of purpose. That is to say, knowing what you want, having a plan for getting it, and having your mind mostly occupied with carrying out that plan. Knowing what you want, having a plan for getting it, and having your mind mostly occupied with carrying out that plan. Okay, if you have to adopt a plan, unless you're an unusual person, you're almost sure to adopt some plans that are not going to work so well. When you find out that your plan is not right, immediately discard it, get another one, and keep on until you find one that will work. In the process of doing this, just remember one thing, that maybe infinite intelligence, being gifted with a great deal of wisdom, might have a plan for you better than the one that you had yourself. Have an open mind. If you adopt a plan to carry out your major purpose or minor purpose and it doesn't work well, dismiss that plan and ask for guidance from infinite intelligence. You may get that guidance. Okay, what is so critical here, right? Especially for people viewing this video that have gone through temporary defeat before, right? At the end of the day, what happens, right? We didn't have a sound plan in place. And I can tell you from my experience, even being as young as I am, I adopted a few plans that just simply didn't work out, right? The first business that I started was a simple painting business, and I went door to door to build up that business. And luckily, I was able to use the plan of people that went ahead and built this business ahead of me. So I was able to use their plans, and simply it didn't work out for me because I didn't follow the plan as soundly. But at the end of the day, right, maybe that plan wasn't 100% in line with my definite major purpose. Maybe it was to get me to the level where I had to experience temporary defeat and then finally realize that I got to sharpen my mind and pick up the book Think and Grow Rich. But what I'm saying is, you know, whatever whatever journey you're on, you're going to need a plan, and that plan that you first pick up may not be the most sound plan for getting what it is that you want. Now, what do you do in those situations, right? What happens if that plan does not work, right? You adopt a new sound plan based on what you learned from actually taking action on the first plan, and you keep on going on, right? We talk about in Think and Grow Rich the idea of persistence, how it's the underlying principle through all these other principles, right? The idea of persistence is you keep on keeping on and you don't quit, and eventually you will find the right plan, right? And if you keep on taking action on that plan, that's how it's done. So that's pretty cool to know. Now, let's keep going on forward. All right, so he goes on to tell a story about Think and Grow Rich, right? And it was actually initially called the 13th Step to Riches, but him in the box office knew this was not $1 million title at the time. So the box office actually told him, they gave him a ring and said, "Listen, Napoleon, if you don't figure out a title for the book Think and Grow Rich, right, $1 million title, we're gonna actually title it Use Your Noodle and Get the Boodle." Okay, so Napoleon Hill, a man who spent 20 years of his life creating the book Think and Grow Rich, right, knew that he had to tell his subconscious mind that you better come up with $1 million box office title, or else, you know, like, I'll be ruined. All the work that I've put in my entire life will be ruined. And so it was interesting because he was definite with his demands to his subconscious mind. And that night, right, he had one last night to figure it out. And he told his subconscious mind this, and he went to bed, and he woke up in the middle of his sleep with the box office title called Think and Grow Rich, right? So it was 2 a.m. He phones up the publishing guy that he was working with and said, I finally got it. It's going to be called Think and Grow Rich. And the guy on the other line said, yep, that's it. That's the one. And that's what the title ended up becoming, right? So because Napoleon Hill, got pushed to the point where he's like, he had to become definite in coming up with a title. It's interesting what infinite intelligence will do to the man that decides right then and there that he's got to have it. So that's the story that is going on. Okay, now let's go to the second benefit that he talks about. So I am fast forwarding a little bit. So if you are reading along, I apologize, but I wanted to try to get these benefits out and actually chat about them rather than just read word for word. So he says next that definiteness of purpose also makes one more alert in recognizing opportunities related to the object of one's major purpose. It also inspires the courage to embrace and act upon those opportunities. We all see opportunities almost every day of our lives from which, if we embrace them and acted upon them, we could benefit. But there's something called procrastination. We just don't have the will, the alertness, the determination to embrace opportunities when they come along. But if you condition your mind with this philosophy, you're not only going to embrace opportunities, but you will do something better. Okay, so he says, what can you do better than embrace the opportunity? And he answers it as make the opportunity. Now, one of Napoleon's generals, right, the other Napoleon, came to him one day and said, they're fixing to attack the next morning. This general said, "Sir, the circumstances are not right for the attack tomorrow." But Napoleon, right, the general, said, "The circumstances are not right. Hell, I make the circumstances attack." I have never seen a successful man yet in any business who, when somebody says it can't be done, didn't say attack, attack. Okay, so Napoleon goes on to say, I've never, or start where you are. When you get around to that curve in the road, you'll always find that the road goes on. Attack. Don't procrastinate. Don't stand still. Attack. Okay, now third, definiteness of purpose inspires confidence in one's integrity and character, and it attracts the favorable attention of other people. Have you ever thought about that? Right? Think about think about this, right? He gives this example, right? When you have somewhere to be and you know you definitely got to be there, you start walking with this pip or this like um this little like that walk when you're walking down the sidewalk and you're like I got to get here, right? A lot of people in New York know this walk, and people you will find will actually get out of your way to make room for you when you are so definite in where you need to go. Okay, so how does that relate to this, right? When you have your definite major purpose, Napoleon's saying it's just like that. You know exactly where you're going, and you will watch how the world will make room for you to actually get to where you got to be. Okay. Now on the other hand, on the flip side, so many people in this world actually, they don't have the definite major purpose in place. They let people push them around, and the man and that's just the brutal truth, right? People are drifters, and they let life circumstances dictate where they're actually going. Okay, so finally, I'm going to wrap this up here. He says, here is the greatest of all benefits of definiteness of purpose. Okay, this is the fourth benefit that we're on of definite major purpose. He says that it opens the way for the full exercise of that state of mind known as faith by making the mind positive and freeing it from the limitations of fear and doubt and discouragement and indecision and procrastination. Okay, so this is a really, really big sentence right here, right? What is the fourth and possibly what Napoleon Hill refers to the best outcome or best benefit of having your definite major purpose is that it opens the way for the full exercise of that state of mind known as faith. Okay, so right, he says that definite major purpose is the starting point of all achievement, and this actually will create a state of mind known as faith, which the mind, actually becomes positive when you right. This is not something I've yet mastered. It's something, the reason I'm reading this is to become a master of this. But when you can fill your mind with your definite major purpose and you fill it with faith, there is no room for fear and doubt, right? You are 100% focused on your major purpose and you don't think about the negatives, right? I'm not saying that you only engage in positive thinking, but you don't focus on how it can't be done. You are only focusing on how it can be done. And I'm sorry to relate this back to Think and Grow Rich, but it has to be said, right? We're going to talk about how you use autosuggestion, the principle of autosuggestion, to fill your mind with your definite major purpose. So that's going to be a whole nother conversation, but the idea here is like you figure it out what exactly that you want, you fill your mind with it, and that, my friends, is how you produce faith, right? If we're talking about true faith and true belief, and even more so the idea of applied faith, which is not just me talking about me believing in my dreams and so on, but me actually doing the action, right? Because one thing I realized is, there's people that say, and this is me, there was me that said, yeah, I believe, I believe, I believe. And then there's the me that actually did it and that had that belief in my action. So that's the difference between faith and applied faith. But let's pause for a moment. I want to read what he says now. Right? He says that the very moment that you decide upon something and that's what you want, you're going to do it. All of the negatives that have been bothering you pick up their baggage and get out. They just move out. They can't live in a positive mind. Can you imagine a negative frame of mind and a positive frame of mind occupying the same space at the same time? No, you can't, because it can't be done. And did you know that the slightest bit of a negative mental attitude is sufficient to destroy the power of prayer? Did you know that the slightest bit of a negative mental attitude is sufficient to destroy your plan? You have to move with courage, with faith, with determination in carrying out your definiteness of purpose. Okay, let me repeat that. He says you have to move with courage, with faith, with determination in carrying out your definiteness of purpose. Wow. So there's a lot there, but at the end of the day, right? The whole idea, like, this is not the secret of thinking we're rich. This is just, me summarizing it in one sentence, is to develop a success conscious mindset that is so filled with your definite major purpose that you do not have room for fear and doubt. That's what he refers to it in this book as success consciousness. He refers to it in Thinking Real Rich as a money consciousness, right? It really comes down to how conscious are you, how aware are you, and does your consciousness, does your state of mind, right, is it filled with your definite major purpose and faith, or is it filled with the flip side of the coin, which is the negatives like fear and doubt? All right. Oh wow. So actually, I was just talking ahead. So he actually says that next, definiteness of purpose makes one success conscious. And he says, do you know what I mean by success conscious? If I said that it makes one health conscious, would you know what I meant by that? It means your thoughts are predominantly about health. With reference to success consciousness, your thoughts are predominantly about success, the can do part of your life, and not to think no can do. Did you know that 98% of people who never get anywhere in life are no can do people? In any circumstance that are placed before them, they immediately fashion their attention upon the no can do part, the negative part. Okay, so kind of going back to what I was explaining, right? The idea of definite major purpose is that you're focusing, your mindset is 100% focusing on what you can do about it, right? When there's opportunity presented to you, what can you do to really embrace that opportunity? So that is the benefit of definite major purpose. Okay, cool. So that wraps up so far what we're talking about with definite major purpose. Now, to reiterate the benefits, um, let me read it again. Okay, so we talked about how it just gives you successful attributes like self-reliance, personal initiative, imagination, enthusiasm, self-discipline, and concentration of effort. And I think the biggest benefit that came from having a definite major purpose was the fact that it leads to a state of mind known as faith. I still believe that is, there's a reason that there's steps in it, and that he has definite major purpose as step number one, and applied faith as step number two. Okay, so we're going to see how once you fill your mind with knowing exactly what you want, this will lead to truly understanding the word of faith, and actually, not only talking about it, not just me sitting behind my phone and talking about it, but actually going into the action of doing it and believing while I'm doing it. So I want to thank you all for hearing me out today. Now, furthermore, we're going to talk about applying the principle of definite major purpose. So that is next. in this conversation. So yeah, I'm gonna end it there. My name is Michael Music. I appreciate you all so much for watching. I hope I've been of value today and worth your time. I'm gonna leave you with this until we meet again in time and space. Bye everybody for now. Peace out.